Welcome back to the Untypical Parent Podcast. I'm your host, Liz Evans, and I have the lovely Julie Bevan with me today from Kids. Welcome to the podcast, Julie.
Oh, thank you, Liz. It's lovely to be here.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation because art and being creative is what we're going to talk about today. And I know you've built a business out of that, and I know that that also has, as it so often does with us entrepreneurs, has a personal element to it as well and a lived experience to it. And I'm also a very strong believer in the creative arts and expression through those, and the joy that it can bring, the healing it can bring, and all the amazing things that art and being creative can do. But we also probably recognise as we become older and become adults that sometimes we lose that creativity side of our lives. So what I wanted to start with first, Julie, was to talk to you a bit about you and your life, and where did Kids come from? Why did it appear?
Okay, so I'm the mother of two daughters, and when they were young, when they were like 3 or something like that, there was nothing really like Kids out there. And even now, there's not that much like Kids out there. So what we do with Kids, it's very process driven. We're art and well-being. We're not about the final image and the perfection. We're about self-expression, creative confidence, and creative freedom. And
You find that the kids coming out of school, that they come with it. I'm really interested about that bit about you saying it being process driven rather than outcome driven. I feel a bit, because I did art at school, is that it became about what you produced, and I got into this, it had to be perfect.
And what is perfect?
Yes.
Well, I mean, who decides what perfect is? If we look at an array of artists that, are heralded as the greatest artists, they're all so completely different.
Yeah.
And because we're all unique, we look at them and, what I like might not be what you like, might not be what my mum likes, might not be what my daughters like. So who decides what's perfect anyway? And I'm very much about the enjoyment of creativity. It's really calming and it's an amazing self-expression tool. So I think, unfortunately, in schools, even in primary schools, art is so squeezed out of the curriculum, and the schools have a minuscule amount of time to do art. And it's all about outcome, but not in a kind of well-being outcome. It's about the perfection. So they'll maybe teach about drawing or an artist or whatever, and every single child comes out with pretty much a similar picture. And I think we've got YouTube now, which is very good in some ways with these how to draw and how to draw books. We do it. This is step 1. We draw the circle, then we do this, then we do that. And we all come out with the exact same thing. Well, what happens if we can't do that? Or what happens if we don't want to do that? And I have seen children as young as 4 and 5 looking worried at what their peers are producing, terrified to make a mark on a white piece of paper because the blank piece of paper is just terrifying them, because they're so used to this final outcome. I remember when I was looking around at schools for my daughters, one of the things that I really noticed, there was a difference in schools, and a lot of the sort of what was perfect Ofsted excellent schools were often the ones that had all the perfect drawings on the wall and they all looked identical. What I really loved was the schools that had a unique element. All the pictures were different, different styles, different abilities, everyone's included. So that's how I wanted to approach Kids, and I was looking for it for my girls. I also wanted to involve discussion, like, what does a particular painting make us feel? What do we think the artist was trying to say? Does it matter that perhaps we look at it differently to what he or she was trying to say? Does, giving everyone a voice, and just quite a lot of chat around creativity. So we would chat and draw and discuss, and then things come out of that, conversations about, what's secondary school going to be like, and things like that.
Yeah.
So yes, that's where it came from, really. I have a background in art and creativity, and worked in education multimedia at the British Museum for quite some
Oh,
time.
okay.
So it's almost, I think we all find that, don't we? All our little paths in life, being a parent to an autistic child, everything sort of came full circle, and it informed Dot Kids and what it's become.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so important because as you were talking then, I remembered very distinctly my son starting in secondary school, my eldest son, and he is very much, he likes to know what the process is.
Hmm.
So teach me what to do. Maths, brilliant at it. Um, and I remember him getting art homework and him coming home. He was so beside himself with it, and he trying to do perspective or something like that. And he had to look out the window and draw what he saw out of the window. And he was and he just said to me, "When are they going to teach me how to draw it?"
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that as young kids, there's a real expression with kids, isn't there? Through when you give them paint, they don't care where it goes when they're
No.
very young. They don't care what it looks like. They're just enjoying it. They've got their hands in it, whatever. And Mum puts it up proudly on the fridge, or Dad. And I think, as they get older, that kind of gets stripped away from them. Like you're talking about, it has to become this, it has to look like something or be something or be a particular outcome. It can't just be because I love it and I
Yeah.
want to do it. And it doesn't have to look like that piece of fruit that I'm meant to have drawn or.
Completely. I mean, I didn't actually take GCSE art when I was at
Yeah.
school because the teacher was just, she didn't know how to inspire us. She made it feel like just the worst thing ever. And although I loved art, I recognised that I didn't want her to be my teacher, and I didn't do it. And then I did it as A level and at degree, but I didn't do it at GCSE. And my daughters are very creative, and my youngest one, she's incredible at drawing. She's very creative. And she said to me the other day, like, GCSE art would be the obvious one for her. But she said, I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit scared about taking it because I've heard so many bad things from people that it basically strips away your love of art, which is not what you should be doing.
I think that's been my experience because I took GCSE art, loved art, took GCSE art, and did quite well at GCSE art, and then did A level art, and I failed it. And I still to this day, Julie, have no idea why I failed it. It's all
Oh,
coursework.
yeah.
I don't know what I
Well,
didn't do,
yeah, I mean, yeah. But
but I
the
did something
thing is,
different.
if
You
the
know,
teacher doesn't understand what you're trying to say,
yeah,
then
yeah.
because it's
It's crazy, isn't it? I think I went off down the route of I was using line prints and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Possibly somewhere along the line, I didn't answer a specific question that
yeah,
they were looking for, but I was having a great time.
yeah.
And I created this big material with all these prints on, and it was Art
Sounds
Deco
amazing.
style. But I failed, and as I still to this day don't know why I failed. I never chased it up.
Maybe you were too advanced for your. No, I'm serious. It sounds to me like you were exploring your mediums like you would do in foundation or at degree level. You were being
Ah,
too
okay.
experimental, because that's the other thing. At A level and GCSE, they don't really want you to experiment.
No, no, and I am
And
renowned for
maybe
doing
that
things
was it.
differently. Yeah, will come at it from an angle.
Mm.
Why do you think art or being creative matters so much, Julie? Why is it so important to us as human beings?
It's almost like the essence of our being. And I know
Yeah.
that sounds
It
dramatic.
doesn't to an occupational therapist.
No. And when I talk about art, I mean the arts. So I mean writing, drawing, painting, drama, singing, playing an instrument. It's that's self-expression, and it takes us to a different place. And I know that sounds really airy-fairy, but it's really, really true.
Yeah.
And when you get immersed in something like that, you forget things that were worrying you, and it's just an experience that's so individual. I think also that's the thing, isn't it, with with learning to play an instrument, or learning to sing and all of that. Obviously, there's a place for all of that, but also, what's wrong with just belting out a song?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I love to sing. I love singing in the shower. Acoustics are amazing in the bathroom. Just drawing shapes, or, you know, swirls, or just the way that the paints, if you're using paint, the color mixing, just even
Yeah.
that, what happened. I mean, it's magical, isn't it?
Yeah.
You mix
Yeah.
that color with that, but you put in a little bit less of the yellow and it turns a unique color. Try and get it again and you won't get it again.
Yeah.
So it's really important. I think it's really important for self-regulation, for self-expression, and it gets stripped away from us through perfection from school, maybe a rubbish teacher that didn't inspire you,
Yeah.
being told you're not good at it. I mean, how can anyone ever say that? Thinking, like, just your self-confidence, I'm not good at this, comparison to
Yeah.
peers.
Yeah.
But also time. Like, as we get older, our time and capacity
Yeah.
to create gets more and more limited. I think it often, if you become a parent, it starts to creep back a little bit sometimes, because then you start getting out some paints and things for your child. You're like, oh, quite like doing
You're like,
this.
listen, kids, get off. I want to do it.
So yeah, I mean, this is what I do for a living, and I'm massively passionate about it. And even I can look back at my week and think, something a bit missing there. Didn't get the paints out. Didn't do my own little bit of
I was going
creativity.
to say to you, so the part of your job is, to be around the kids and doing work with them, but
Mhm.
do you still do stuff for yourself?
I try to, and it goes up and down.
Yeah.
The thing is that I get so immersed in it that you might not see me for days. When I was doing my degree and after, I completely different to now, but I was a real night owl, and I would paint everything, through the night, and it would suddenly be 6 in the morning and I was still creating. But obviously, once you're in the real world,
Mm.
working, parenting, and things like that, you just don't have that time to do
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah, what one thing we have done a lot as a family over recent years is we get out the paints. We have a lovely set of watercolor paints and watercolor paper, and we play a lot of music together. We particularly do this more in the summer. We sit out in the garden till quite late. So the four of us, my girls, my husband and me, we play music, and the three of us girls paint. And we just, it's not necessarily we're painting anything. We might just be painting some colours, some textures and things, and we just sit there till really late just painting. And it's really, really lovely. And it's strange, actually, because we don't do it so much in the winter.
So there's something maybe about being outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That makes me feel relaxed even thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. I
What a
mean,
nice thing to do. But your husband
yeah,
doesn't paint.
he doesn't, and I think he's scared to. I think he's scared to, and he's a musician.
Okay,
Mm,
so creative, but in a different
yeah,
way.
yeah. I think it takes a lot to drop that, that worry about what will someone think. And I've been with my husband for, like, I don't know, 30 odd years. We know each other really, really well. I'm never going to go, oh my word, that's awful. Um, but yeah, It's strange, isn't it? I've never
Yeah.
actually asked him why he doesn't get involved. I should ask him, shouldn't
I
I?
want it'd be really interesting as well, I think. I
Mm.
just wonder whether there is a more tendency that women will seek out being creative, and do men maybe do it in a different way? Like you say, through music. I know my partner is very much into music, and that's
Mm.
how he is creative, is through that side. And I wonder whether it's different for men and women. I'd never thought about
Yeah,
it.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? But then when you
Mm.
think of some of some of the top painters, I'm sure there are lots of women as well.
Yeah.
But some of the really, if you said to someone, name the most famous painter you can think of, the majority of
Mm.
them are going to say a man.
Yeah, totally. Totally, yeah.
Really interests me that.
Yeah.
So we talked about the fact that as parents, as we kind of, or as adults, as we get older, we kind of we stop doing those creative things. And you kind of touched on it briefly, but why do you think that happens for us as adults, that drops away for us?
I think when you're an adult, and particularly when you have responsibilities, financial responsibilities, parental responsibilities, or caring responsibilities, it almost feels, it's a bit like self-care. You almost feel like your time needs to have an outcome that, either makes money, puts food on the table, looks after someone, I'm getting from A to B with my child, or I'm doing this. But it's a form of self-care, isn't it? Really,
Absolutely.
creativity. If you're not, if it's not your profession, it is a form of self-care. It's
Yeah.
giving you that 10 minutes, an hour to just sit down and have some time for you. It's like going to the gym, doing some yoga, doing some mindfulness.
Yeah.
And I think we're so kind of conditioned to have this, our time equals an outcome.
Yeah. Productivity.
Yeah, productivity, yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose if we look at it, reframe it as the outcome is my well-being is increased, my my anxiety is reduced, and also it's such a connective, community driven thing, or it can be,
Mm,
if you do it with family, if you
mm,
do it with friends.
yeah.
So yeah, I think
It's a
that's
funny thing, isn't it? I think because I often, when it's kind of like you talk to kids and they'll talk about art in their younger days, then you kind of, it feels like it disappears in adulthood. But then often when you hear people are retiring, they then have gone off and they've picked up an art class, or they've picked up a crocheting class or a photography class, or because possibly they've got more time available. But sometimes there is like little things that you can do that are creative
mm.
that we possibly might not even know about. I tried to teach myself crochet, and
I've tried that as well.
I'm quite good in a long line,
Mm,
and
yeah,
just creating
I can do a
lines.
line.
Yeah, I can't do much more. I've tried getting like these little packs where it teaches. It doesn't work for me. But actually, I find it really therapeutic just to sit and crochet lines. They don't go
Mm,
anywhere. I just undo them afterwards. So, like you said, there's no product at the end for me.
mm,
Um, we work as OTs very much about being and doing. And right back in the early days when OT was started, it was about keeping people occupied. And that was done through creative stuff a lot of the time. It
mm.
might have been
Yeah,
gardening, but it might have been, we're typically known as basket weavers as
yeah,
OTs, but those kind of skills and what that brought, and a lot of that was creativity. And I remember I was taught pottery and stuff when I was at college doing my training to become an OT. I loved it. Wood turning,
yeah,
stuff I never did at school.
yeah. Absolutely amazing.
So sometimes I
Amazing.
think I wonder whether as adults we don't know what is available for us to do. And when we think about paints or about drawing, we think about getting out your sketchbook and it having to
Mm,
look like something. Whereas actually,
yeah,
can you just take something from what you've been doing with the kids, which is making marks on the
totally,
paper?
totally. I mean, I have if I'm on waiting like for a phone call, like on the line to the doctors or whatever, or if I'm chatting I just doodle. I doodle, and it's just constant sort of like I'm just doing it now, but sort of just constant little
Yeah.
things like this. Or my favourite thing is to write the word hello. I love it. It's all loopy and just gorgeous. And I can do hello, hello, hello. And I'll look down and my whole sheet of paper is covered in hellos.
Do you know what though? I reckon if we asked loads of people, when you're concentrating, or like you said, maybe you're listening to something or you're having to concentrate, how many of you doodle?
Yeah.
I
It'll
wonder
be
if we should put that
interesting.
as a question on the
Yeah,
podcast. If you
totally.
doodle, let us know. Because
Nice.
I do the same.
Yeah.
I've got like, mine is I draw flowers.
Mm,
I've got a flower that I draw over and over, or the sun. Don't know
yeah.
why.
I also do boxes. I don't know. It'll be you can psychoanalyze me, but I do that kind of thing quite a bit. Little boxes and
Okay.
squares and things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But today I'm in more of a flowy mood.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
what's
maybe
really
it
important,
depends on the intensity of the phone call, the
possibly,
conversation.
yeah. But you'll find lots of kids do that, don't they? They'll doodle as they're listening, and actually it
Yeah,
helps us focus
yeah,
on things. And
totally.
often you'll find, I'm not giving teachers a hard time because both my parents are ex-teachers and they would shoot me. Um, but often you might find the teacher would say, stop messing around, stop doodling, stop
Yeah.
fiddling. But actually, that's allowing that kid to listen to what you're saying. Although it's, is it being creative? Who knows? Possibly. Um, but actually, that process of doodling is really, really important for some
Mm.
kids.
Do you know the Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama? She does a lot of the polka dot things,
No.
and so she's in her 90s. She's prolific. She just, I mean, she's been an artist since, late teens, I would imagine. And what she does is, and it's part of her helping her mental health. She's had a lot of mental health issues during her life, and pretty much all of her art is polka dots, and she does it as a methodical sort of mindfulness experience. So it has this beautiful outcome, and her paintings sell for millions and stuff, but it's still a creative, like, just a process for her. It's a
Yeah,
creative
an
process,
outlet. Yeah.
you know, as much as it is for the outcome. It's all about, repetition and these little polka dots. Yeah.
I'm going to look up. I'm going to put that as a link
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
show notes for people so they
Yeah.
can have a look. And I'm off to have a look, actually. That sounds
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. I've
Yeah.
never heard of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when I think about then with Dot Kids, so what is Dot Kids, Julie? Why did that come about for you? What is
So
it?
very much because it didn't exist for my girls, and I was just like, why doesn't it? And I'm kind of, I've realized in later years I am neurodivergent myself through researching for my daughter who is autistic. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds a bit like me. And I'm sure we've all done that. Anyone that's got a child who's neurodivergent suddenly realize where it's come from,
The
and then
dots start
see,
to join up, don't
yeah,
they?
totally, and then one of your parents and things like that. um and I came up with the idea, and I just thought, I think I might have done like a little session with the girls when they were really young on my dining table, and I just booked a hole. Said in 6 weeks' time I'm going to do this, and it sold out immediately.
So what was it? What was the idea? What were you doing with your girls at home that you thought, I'm going to do this?
So I was incorporating art history into it.
Okay.
So I think the first one I did was Frida Kahlo, and but we talked about her life and why she did things, and how she had a disability, and how she used her art to express herself, and how she came about to be an artist. So how she came about to be an artist was, originally she wanted to be a doctor, and that was like going to be her path. And she had a bus accident when she was about 18, and she damaged all her spine. She was lucky to not die, and she was in bed for 9 months recuperating. And as a sort of, to while away the hours, her mother got a easel made up. So she was lying down in bed and got this easel made that was above her, and she taught herself how to paint while she was in bed for those 9 months. And then that's how her journey became. So all of her artworks are very autobiographical. They're very much about, you know, the pain in her body from she had polio as well, and you know, just and about pain in her relationships and things like that. But it's also, her story's also about overcoming disability and
Yeah.
situations. So, and then I asked the children to create a painting, a self-portrait that expressed them. So what Frida Kahlo would do is, in her self-portrait, she would have pictures around her
Mm.
that represented the things that were important to her in her life or were challenging in her life. So she had lots of animals and things, and she had like exotic birds, and I think she had like a puma or something crazy. She'd have all, you know, and the flowers of Mexico and all of this around her,
Yeah.
all the things that she really cared about. And so when I did this first one with my daughters, they drew all the things that were important to them around them. So it was a self-portrait, but it was also extreme self-expression. And then what that kind of then built on with the sessions that I do with the community, with schools, with charities and things. So I work with adopted and cared for children, and we have a lot of special educational needs and disabilities pupils. So it's just a way to express themselves. Um, so it's really quite beautiful, and it can create really interesting conversations while we're painting or drawing or whatever it is.
Is it always group based, Julie, or do you ever kind of just see kids on their own?
I have done in the past, but my time is squeezed somewhat. So small intervention groups and
Yeah.
then larger groups.
Okay. And always in person or online as well?
Well, I did do a lot online during COVID, because we also do mindfulness and mindset as well.
Okay.
So, and that was quite amazing doing that, because obviously the world was just on its axis, and it was just very bizarre. But we would have, and it was beautiful for me, because I would be with these children for a couple of hours a day. We'd be drawing, we'd be doing mindfulness. I had children in India and Spain, and
Wow.
you know, come into these sessions, and then the kids that I used to see regularly anyway. Um, and the response from that was quite wonderful, you know, just parents just saying, I don't know how we would have got through this without these
Yeah.
sessions to look forward to, and how they helped the children, because it was a really scary time,
It
particularly for
was.
children.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I think majority of the children are not recovered from it
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. It's had a big impact, hasn't it?
Massive, massive.
So, where are you? So, if people want to access your what you offer, Julie, mainly it's in person,
It is mostly in person, yeah. Although I am, I've been saying this for a long time, but I am
this might hold you accountable.
setting up my own podcast, which is called Your Creative Self. So,
Nice.
talking to creatives and artists about their formative creative inspirations and how creativity has helped their well-being, and you know, just a little bit of chat. So I've recorded the first one of those, and it's just finding time for it, isn't it? But I
Yeah.
love to talk about that stuff, so it's not really like work, is it? It's just
No,
finding that time.
no, it's most favourite bit. I suppose what I'm really interested in is that question that you're possibly putting to other artists is maybe putting that to you, Julie, right now. It's
Okay.
saying, has it impacted you, kind of your mental health and well-being?
So I have in the past suffered from depression,
Yeah.
and creativity has always been one of the ways that have kind of got me out of the depression. Um, and I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes we think we're not creative, but actually you're listening to certain types of music that you love that makes you feel a certain way, even if you don't play an instrument or sing, just listening to music, that's being creative in my view, watching film, going to the theatre, anything like that. Funnily enough, I can't do theatre.
Me
I
neither.
can I
I can't sit
cannot
still long enough.
well, no, I don't like sitting still for long, but I can't. I'm just really aware that there are people up there that are acting. I cannot stop thinking, you're just standing there in front of me saying a script. Whereas if I watch it on film, I am totally absorbed and I believe that the person is that person, that they're
Yeah,
playing.
yeah, yeah.
When they're on the stage, I think it's because I can see everything all around it and see people watching it.
Yeah.
I can't suspend disbelief. It's so odd. I've never met anyone that's felt like that before. But the other question that I ask on the podcast, or I'm going to ask, is about what's your formative inspiration? And I've got so many of those. And a couple of them are via teachers, which I think has now informed how I've created Dot Kids. I want all our Dot Kids teachers to have that impact on those children, like the important teachers that I had when I was younger. Did you have a particular teacher that inspired you in any way?
Yeah, no, I don't think I did. In fact, I think the teachers probably sucked the joy out of it, if
Mm,
I'm completely honest. I think for me, it was more of a getting lost. I would
mm,
draw and doodle, and I copied things a lot when I was younger.
mm,
Um, and then I think as I kind of got into A level, I did a bit more creativity, but I still got very stuck on the what should it look like. But I
yeah.
don't, yeah, no, the teachers didn't do it for me. I don't know why I ended up down that. I think possibly it was more my neurodivergent brain being dyslexic, moving away from lots of writing, but wanting to find some form of expression in some way. It wasn't as logical as that at 16, 17, 18, but that I think that's where it ended up.
Mm. Yeah, I think I mean, primary school, I think, was really pivotal for me. And I always think primary school is that, particularly the Key Stage 2 children, they've, I think that's such an important period of their school life, because it really sets them up and ready for what they're going to be or how they're going to be at secondary. But I remember we had a new teacher come to the school when I must have been in at the equivalent of year 4,
Mm.
and he brought with. So we had a hall and it had curtains, and there was like a little back bit, and we came in for assembly, and the curtains pulled away, and the new teacher was sitting there with a full drum kit, playing the drums like this. Then he got out his electric guitar, and it was just like, we were like, wow, this is
It was really
amazing.
cool.
And then what he used to do was he used to take a group of about 15 pupils into, ironically, what was called the quiet room. It was used to be uh, for reading and things and watching films and things, when they used to bring out the TV with the little
Roll it.
um, and he brought in a record player, and he told us all to bring in a record that we really loved, and he asked us all to explain why we liked the record and what we liked about it. And I remember this kid in our class called Barry brought in Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax, which at the time was banned and everything. The
A
cover
bit
was
risque at
outrageous.
that time.
We're junior school kids. But he had, Mr. Cox was his name, he had this really great conversation. Is, why do you like it? Is it because it's been banned? Is it because it's a little bit naughty? You know, what is the reasoning? And I think I really take a lot of that moment into Dot Kids, giving the pupils autonomy and a voice to just, you know, tell us why you feel this way, tell us why you like this. And I think that really affected me and affected Dot Kids and the way that not teach, but the way I've brought my girls up as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, just, yeah, incredible moment. I really, really remember it
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And what a positive impact that had on you, that you've brought that with you.
Yeah,
I won't say from all those years ago, but I probably am similar age to
pretty
you, Julie,
much.
that it was a little while ago that we were in
A little
school.
while.
Yeah, just a little while ago. But, that's really interesting. And I think, just shows, doesn't it, how having great teachers that can inspire kids, and play to their strengths can
Mm,
be so important, that you still remember those
yeah,
teachers, how many years later, and what a positive impact that's had on not only probably your life, but also the things that you do now. And that was, a little while ago that guy was getting it right.
yeah, yeah,
So this isn't new stuff. It's got squeezed out of the
yeah.
curriculum.
Because can you imagine any teacher now having the time
Yeah.
to be able to take 15 kids into a little room and go, oh, bring in some music and we'll all sit down and listen to your one song and then we'll all talk about it? They wouldn't have time to do that now. They just wouldn't.
So, Julie, if people were interested in finding out about Dot Kids, obviously I'll put all the details for Dot Kids and how to contact Julie in the show notes so we can find that. We will also put the details. What was the name of the artist you talked about that does all the polka dots?
Yayoi Kusama.
Great. We're going to put them in there as well so people
Mhm.
can have a look at that. But whereabouts in the country are you, Julie? So if people are wanting kind
So
of face-to-face stuff with you.
we are in Kent. We do things
Okay.
in Kent, London, and also Sussex, but we are also constantly growing. We 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 do various clubs and intervention things with charities and in schools, and we're just finding it so popular, which is just really wonderful. We released a club recently in a school, and it sold out within 2 hours, and we've now got 24 on the waiting list. So we're doing a second club in that school in each week. So we are actually looking for any amazing, inspiring creatives that would like to deliver Dot Kids.
Oh, we can put that out. If people are
So
listening.
if yeah, we're looking for freelancers, and we're also franchising. So if you wanted Dot Kids to be in your area, wherever in the UK, and you wanted to run your own sort of beautiful heart-centered creativity
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
then I'd love to have a little chat. But my aim is to just be able to offer this to as many children as possible. So the beauty of it is we work with the community. So there's, family paid for sessions, but we also work with pupil premium,
Okay.
charities and things. So there's a lot of paid for sessions, and we have a pay it forward scheme and bursary scheme.
Nice.
So that, you know, everyone gets to experience
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
best we can. So it's just really now getting more people trained up so that more and more people
The
can
demand's
deliver.
there. You just got to
So it's
be able
really
to do it.
exciting. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
really
exciting.
exciting. Well,
Yeah.
maybe in one of your ideas at some point, you could do a group for parents.
Well, yeah,
Thought.
totally. I mean, the amount of times I'm asked for this is unbelievable. And I did used to do it, but then Dot Kids kind of just blew up and I sort of shelved that bit. Part of my ideas behind the podcast is that will probably start to creep in.
Yeah, oh, I'd
And we
love to
do a
see
lot of
that.
family stuff as well.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
already
absolutely.
work with adults and a lot of intergenerational.
Brilliant.
We find now so many grandparents have the caring
Yeah.
responsibility, during half terms. The parents are out working, so the grandparents come along to the workshops and
Mm.
things. So that's really lovely to have, multi-generation. Yeah. That's good.
Well, what I would probably say is if there's anyone listening, when they are listening to this, is maybe if you do something really creative, it would be really great to hear what that is. Because sometimes it's about sharing it and someone just goes, oh, what's that? I've never heard of that before. So it'd be really great if you are listening, just in whatever platform that is, whether it's on Spotify or on YouTube or wherever, just to pop in what it is that you do that is your creative bit. So like for me, it's crocheting and I just crochet in lines. I'm happy with that. That's okay with that. And I've just gone and bought myself some more paints recently. So I'm going to
Oh,
try getting back into
lovely.
some acrylics,
Yeah.
but starting to paint on things rather than just on pieces of paper. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. What are you doing at the moment, Judy? What have you got on your plate for creativity things at the moment?
So I tell you one thing, it won't be crochet.
Yeah.
I find that when I'm holding the crochet hook,
Yeah.
I'm like really tense. And it actually
Oh,
does the opposite to me.
yeah,
I
then
feel my shoulders going like this, whereas flowy paints, that's where I
that's
am.
your thing.
So, and I'm really lucky to have a studio at the back of the garden. I've currently got an easel with a very, very large canvas on, which every couple of days I go up and add a little bit more.
Oh,
So I'm
Lord.
very much about textures at the moment and mixing of colours and inks flowing and things.
Yeah.
So I just love doing it. I could just keep applying and never actually get to any finished thing.
I think
I
that's a
love
very
it.
typical artist reaction, though, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Not
So
quite finished.
yeah, never finished.
Well, if people are out there listening and they have got something that they do that's creative, as I say, it'd be great to start creating a bit of a list and that
Totally.
people could come on here after us and think, well, I want to do something, but I don't know what. And if we started to create a bit of a list, so if you're brave enough and you're happy enough to let us know, we would love to hear that. But all that leads me to say is, Julie, thank you ever so much for coming on. It's been lovely chatting to you. Art is very close to my heart, and I think I lost my love of art, and it's coming back, which I'm pleased about. But thank you ever so much for coming on, talking about art, being creative, kids, and all about Dot Kids. I wish you loads and loads of luck with Dot Kids.
Oh,
And
thank you.
thank you ever so much.
It's been great. It's got me really excited. I want to go up and start adding to my canvas again.
Yeah, that's a good way to end the podcast.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Julie.
Thanks.